latest mock draft. It's a 2-round mock draft that I did. At first, I didn't like it. Thought it was a little weird. But then the more I look at it, the more I do, in fact, like it. So went with Cansey at the 6th overall pick. Little risky. I get it. But the reason I did that was the Lions sitting here at pick number 6. You really have to decide, because really the blue chippers come off and you're almost in no man's land where it's like too high to take a corner, even though Christian Gonzalez did really well. But you're also missing out on the blue chippers. So Cansey um, had a great combine. I was like, you know what? Let's just see if I were to take him, what that would kind of look like. So if you take Cansey, and then you're left with some other guys here that, I don't know. I kind of like it. I kind of don't. So let me know your thoughts in the chat, because Josh Reynolds is not all that, right? Josh Reynolds, in fact, is good receiver. He's got one more year on his contract or whatever. But then after that, Josh Reynolds is gone, and then Chark could be gone. So that leaves you with St. Brown, Jameson Williams, and then you could go Jackson Smith and Jigba, and that's not bad at all. So I'll take that all day of the week. So looking at it here, I went Garrett Williams, Jack Cambell to address those needs as well. But this mock draft, I don't love it, but I also don't hate it at all either, because wide receiver is something that I think Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes really value. They understand that if you really want to win in this league, you got to score. And you got to score when you have the opportunity and make big plays. And the way you do that is wide receiver. Used to be running back was a great way to do it, but running back is just so hard to find, so hard to do. So I think I think Jackson Smith and Jigba, again, I got a little weird here, but at the same time, I don't hate it. So let me know your thoughts on that. And really, when I looked at the combine, man, the corners looked good. DJ Turner out of Michigan. I didn't even realize he was that fast and that strong and everything else. Mozzie Smith out of Michigan, strong, big, played really well, or did really well at the combine for an interior defensive lineman. Cansey did great. So I'm looking at it thinking, man, do we go interior defensive lineman and just roll with it that way? Jack Cambell, I don't know if he's a second rounder, third rounder, what we do with Jack Cambell. So when you look at the full results of it, Jack Cambell, so yeah, Mozzie Smith's starting to go up there a little bit, but Cansey here, PFF didn't like him that high. I get it. And then I went Jackson Smith and Jigba, because you look at who was available. The corners went Joey Porter, Witherspoon, and Gonzalez went. So at pick 18, it's basically Bijan Robinson. You have to decide, do you want to go that route? Jackson Smith and Jigba. I didn't know. I just thought, hey, wide receiver. So do you go running back or wide receiver there? What do you value more? And for me, it was definitely wide receiver, because running back is just too hard. It's too hard to stay healthy. It's too hard to make as big of an impact as it is on the defensive side of the ball. So let me know your thoughts there as you see this. And really, when I looked at because linebacker and corner is a huge need. I mean, that's just a straight up need. Now, can you match best player available with your need? That's the dream, but can you do it all the time? Not typically. So really, and really, Dan Campbell has said secondary and linebacker is an area that you can get value at the end of the draft. And they've also said during the combine that Dan Campbell said the areas that we need happens to be really deep in this draft. And he didn't say what we need exactly, but we all know it's corner and linebacker. That's what we need. That's straight up. I mean, man, corner. Are you kidding me? What you look at our depth chart at corner, and it's just not good. I mean, you've got guys that are going left and right here. You've got Okuda is just, we don't know yet. Jerry Jacobs, solid. Will Harris, free agent. Owarie, free agent. Mike Hughes, free agent. Chase Lucas didn't play. So you got to get a starting corner, like you just straight up do, because Okuda, man, if he comes out of camp and he's your starter, then great. That's great. Jerry Jacobs, same thing. But you can't be like Okuda's the guy going into camp. I mean, again, I'm not like totally down on Okuda, but I hate to do that. Yeah, I agree. I'm not afraid of Tom. I'm not afraid of offensive line there by any means, because you really look at it, and I looked at the Osiris guy or whatever his name is. Let me look at Terrence. I can't. Yeah, Osiris Torrance. Excuse me. Here at 24 at the guard position. Absolutely, we need interior guard help, depth, and Dan Campbell said it. We need depth at every single. We need a starter or depth at every single position. So don't even. But I'm with you. I would love to make our offensive line elite and just make them studs. Why not? Right? I absolutely love that one. And then you look at some of the other offensive linemen that are out there. There's some tackles, but there's no stud. Usually every year there's a stud tackle that is going to go in the top 5, top 10. The best tackle, Paris Johnson. And outside of that, man, there's not a lot of offensive linemen. So if you can get a blue chipper offensive lineman early in the draft, I would take that, no problem at all. And then I'm looking here. Yeah, my favorite QB is Witherspoon. I love Witherspoon. You can see that he has him going 10th, or in this mock draft, he went 10th. It's so hard though at 6. It's so hard because do you take him at 6, but he's probably not going to be there at 18. So it's like, man, all these corners. I'm good with all these corners, but Witherspoon's my favorite. I think he's just the most physical, strong, tough, all those things that, again, the Lions are just looking for. And it's like, do you take him at 6 though? I mean, that is what's so difficult. I don't know if I can be good with a corner at 6, because we all know, like, you don't work out and you took him at 6, and it's just, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to do, but you also know you want these premier corners of Gonzalez, Witherspoon, and Joey Porter just probably may not make it to pick 18. And we really need a corner, and we've really shown, Sauce has shown. I mean, Sauce is another whole nother level, but he's shown that you can step right in and be a starter, and that's what we need. We need a starting caliber corner desperately, because we're just looking at it here. We have nobody behind Jerry Jacobs and Jeff Okuda as it stands right now. Maybe Will Harris, maybe Mike Hughes. Maybe we sign one of these 3, but even still, you just don't have any depth. You don't really have a true, like, man, difference maker at corner. And offenses are so good now. It's just so hard. Why do you think linebacker isn't being seen as a need in the first round for the Lions? Good question. Because Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have come out and said that this is a position you can get the value at the end of the draft. And, they did it with Malcolm Rodriguez. So I'm okay with, it's a huge need though. That's what's hard, is like, this is a huge need. Let's take care of it. But at the same time, they believe that they can find value at the end of the draft. And I don't know. It's hard because it's like, well, we need that. So if you look at the big board here of linebackers, Simpson, Drew Sanders, Jack Campbell they got him about 60th, so second, third round. I mean, that's another one. Like, I'm good with taking him all day long. It's second, third. He's a lot bigger than I thought. For some reason, I thought he was smaller. Don't know why. Absolutely, Weston. We just have to get some competition in that cornerback room. I think the way that offenses are, they're so explosive. The offenses have just evolved so well that you have to give yourself a chance on those when it comes to corners. Like, if you have really good corners, then it kind of obviously levels the playing field, but offenses have such an advantage, it feels like. So you gotta have, so if you don't have good corners, just forget it. Matchup city, left and right, they're gonna isolate your bad corner all game. and you just don't have a chance. So it's like, give me some good, solid corners. Jerry Jacobs is one of those. Like, he's an example of just a good physical corner that, okay, you can play, but he's still not like elite. And that's okay. You're not going to have like 4 elite corners on your team, but you still need 1 or 2 just really good. And Okuda, man, he was all over the place this year. Warrior, same thing. Like, he was supposed to, remember last year, like, man, all right. He was the one bright spot on defense. Warrior, maybe he's going to get an extension. Ends up not playing well at all this year, to the point where he's not going to be back. I mean, there's no way he's back. So it's just hard to believe that we don't have corners. Safety still too is young. Tracy Walker injury, and then what's his name? Rookie is just a rookie. He had a great year. Love everything he did, but I mean, he's still young. So we need to. Secondary is just such a need. It's crazy. And then let me look here at, when you look at safety, Brian Branch, Chris Smith the second, Jordan Battle, JL Skinner. I love him. 6'4", 209, good size. Boise State, 4th round, something like that would be just super awesome. But I mean, when you look at what the Lions are looking for, obviously it's defense. But when I did this mock draft, man, there's going to be some elite talent offensively and that 18th pick. Don't be afraid and don't shy away from grabbing another playmaker with pick 18. I did it in this mock draft. I don't love it because we have so many holes on defense, but at the same time, man, when you can get your offense humming and you got Jameson Williams, Jackson Smith and Jigba, St. Brown, that'd be all right. That'd be real good. I mean, Josh Reynolds is real solid and helped us out, but nothing like what these guys could do. So really it comes down, for me, this 18th pick is what I'm most intrigued by, because there's a lot of different options. Tackle, I wouldn't hate tackle. I would not hate. I don't think Seattle would take Bijan Robinson, but I'd take Bijan Robinson as well, because I'm not a Swift fan. Just never. I wanted to get on board with Swift so bad, but every time I start to get on board, he just like fumbles or just drops the ball or just doesn't get a first down when he should have. And now it's 3rd and 1 and we got to run a play. It's like, dude, why don't you just get a first down? You like, he's like tiptoes sometimes when he shouldn't, but then he'll rip off like a 30-yard run on a screen pass. And you're like, well, okay, well, actually, Swift, I'm sorry I said that about you. You're actually good. So I can't decide on Swift, but he can't stay healthy. I don't think he's all that. Swift, all good. Jamal Williams. And the thing about Jamal Williams, hey, we all like him. We love his personality and the things that he talks about and things that he does, everything he's all about. But at the same time, he's an average running back. And he had a lot of good touches and different things around the goal line. And lucky is not the right word, but he was fortunate that we were always kind of like inside the 5. Like we didn't, we caught a lot of balls where we got stopped at the 2, or against like Green Bay, you throw that long one to Khalif Raymond and he's down at the 1, and then Jamal. So the 17 touchdowns is really good and awesome, but that's what makes Barry Sanders his record more incredible. None of those were short yardage. Those were all ran in from at least 20 yards out. So anyway, Jamal Williams, as much as we like him, he's an average, just a solid running back. Like, yes, he's great for our culture and all the other things, but my point is on the running backs, we don't have like a great running back room. We don't have a good running back room. So it's tough. And I don't know. It's going to be hard for us to do the things we want to do unless we pick up an elite running back. And I'd be okay with Bijan Robinson for sure. So let me know your thoughts on that. I mean, again, corner and running back is so hard to project and take early, because you really want wide receiver, you want bang for your buck, you want wide receiver, you want D lineman, you want offensive lineman, quarterback, of course. But when you take corner and running back early, it's hard to know if that's good or not. And then, linebacker, I mean, Malcolm Rodriguez, of course, that's awesome. Derek Barnes is just a nice, solid backup. I mean, Derek Barnes is, I don't know. He's didn't quite get it yet. Alex Anzalone, I don't know if he's going to be back, what that's going to look like, but I would definitely take a linebacker, and we will. We'll take a linebacker, and we'll get one in free agency as well to make sure that we pick up on, what we need to. But I feel like early on we're gonna take playmaker, best available. It's not gonna be what we're expecting. I'm thinking we're going offense maybe in that first on the 18th pick. Probably go defense the best we can in some sort of way. Let me see here. Defensive lineman, but then 18th pick, don't be surprised if we go offense. Same with top of the second round too. I mean, a a guard or something. I mean, we're gonna get our linebacker and corner, but we'll probably get them later in the draft, which I don't like. The linebacker I'm okay with, but corner I would like to get us something taken care of early so we can get Christian Gonzalez, Witherspoon. But in order to do that, I think you have to take them at 6, and that's they better be really good. Those corners better be really good if you're going to take one at 6. So I don't know. That's a tough one to do, but I would do it. I would do it, but it's got to be Witherspoon or Gonzalez for me if you're going to take a guy up at 6. So there's my latest mock draft. You got Cansey, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Then I do address corner and linebacker. I think Brad Holmes, though, waits on linebacker, corner. We'll see if he takes one early, or the best case scenario, we just trade that 6th pick, because the problem is you just are in no man's land when you look at kind of the top players are gone. And then is it too early to take Christian Gonzalez? You don't want Will Levis, Anthony Richardson there, do you? Maybe you do. I mean, look at Miles Murphy. Do you take him? Do you take Quentin Johnson up here? I would not be surprised if we take a wide receiver at 6 either, an offensive guy. So it's going to be crazy. I don't know. It's going to be really good, and I can't wait to see what we do, especially on the top of the draft, because that 6th pick is somewhat in, I keep saying it, no man's land. You don't, unless you feel really good about Christian Gonzalez or Witherspoon, those corners, you can come up and grab those. But otherwise, it's difficult for you to take one of those guys if they're not like super, super elite and great. So I don't know. I would take, I would be comfortable with it, but I'm also like really good if we just went like Quentin Johnston out of TCU, like shock the world, really good receiver. Or if he's still hanging around at pick 18, I'm good with taking a wide receiver. The more I'm thinking about this, because Josh Reynolds is on like one more year, and then you've got Jamison Williams coming in. Chark might be gone, so it's like, let's go. Like, why would we not do that? So I don't know. It's hard to say. So, yeah, Tyree Wilson all day. I like him a lot as well. Tyree Wilson keeps kind of going just ahead of us. He keeps going in this top 5. And then again, it leaves you with, what do you do? So yeah, Big V is going to stay. I was looking at possibly getting a guard there in the draft somewhere. I did my latest mock draft, but Big V can, man, you don't know his injuries. You don't know what's going on with him. But if you look at if he can be in there, we keep talking about now 3 years in a row, but you got Decker, Jack. I mean, dude, our offensive line with that right guard solidify. We never had that right guard. So when you don't have that right guard, and then Ragnow's out, then Evan Brown goes in there, then Stenberg, we never fully had our line even. So, I mean, that's awesome, really, that we could do this. Yeah, thanks, Tom. A lot of content coming. I mean, really, this is a great time to be a Lions fan. Can you believe that? Can you believe I'm saying that? It's a great time to be a Lions fan. We got a GM that you trust and think, can't wait to see what he does. Can't wait to see, because even in the past couple of drafts, he's done things you're like, wait a second. It's like, oh, actually, that's pretty good. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, absolutely. Big V, he may not. This back issue stuff, Levi's got the same thing. It's like, well, what do? They don't have the you don't have it's a back. I don't know. So yeah, he did just sign a reduced contract. So hopefully hopefully he can get there. But again, you get into camp, you get doing things, maybe it flares up. Who knows what it is? Who knows fully what he has? So in some aspects you want to count on him, but at the same time, you don't want to count on him as well, if that makes any sense at all. So I would love to see our offensive line finally just be all there. Because then if somebody goes down, you've got options, but if Evan Brown was always right guard and then Evan had to go to center and then Stenberg, man, really wanted him to work out. I remember when we drafted him, everyone was so excited. Glass eater. I remember hearing that for the first time in my life. I'm like, oh, he's a glass eater? I love it. Nah, not great. Not great. Can't pass protect at all. Logan Stenberg gone. Nelson injured. Skipper, bless his heart. Good story. Swing tackle, play a little guard. But man, we need offensive line help. That's what's crazy too. We need offensive line help. We need to secure that. We need to do we got some things going that Dan Cambell said it. We have to address every position. We either need a starter or a backup. So that's corner. That's linebacker, of course. Defensive line. Secondary. So there's the whole defense. We need all that. Quarterback. Quarterback, that's the big question. What do we do at quarterback? I'm in the Brock Purdy type camp. Take a flyer on a dude late in the draft, a quarterback late in the draft. If he works, cool. If he doesn't, that's fine. He'll still be the best backup we've had in the last 3 years. Let's just take a I don't want to take a QB top of the draft. Yeah, I agree with this. Evan Brown is a good. He can play center. He can play guard. He's high. That is a big time value for a lot of teams to be able to get a guy right there. Yep, grab a guard. The Osiris Torrance, I think his name is, out of Florida, is a guy that everybody's really been looking for. He's at 24, so you could take him at 18. It didn't give up a sack, or he's got a bunch of weird stats, a lot of good stats on him and the things that he's done. So boom. Oh my gosh, exactly. Like, talk about the exact thing I'm talking about is Stetson Bennett. Take a flyer on him. Dude gets in, shocks the world, right? Like, Goff goes down. Let's be honest, this next year, we're not in good shape anyway. So you got Stetson Bennett. Maybe he works, cool, but you take the pressure off Goff. You don't draft a guy up real high. And then if we really need to next year, we can look at it. Maybe Stetson just really sucks. I don't know. Yeah, Moody, man, you think about that. You're like, yeah, why not, right? It's like, all right, our kicker last year was not horrible by any means. Okay, so I don't think we're dying for a kicker. And also, you remember we got Malcolm Rodriguez and James Houston in the 6th round. So that 6th round pick with Brad Holmes is no longer a throwaway. It's no, and I'm not saying Moody's a throwaway, but I'm just saying, man, a 6th round pick with Brad Holmes, I'd like a linebacker or something else, right? So if our kicking situation was brutal, I'm all for it. But I don't think our kicking situation's that bad right now with Badgley. Would I like a guy, and we got spoiled there for a few years with Prater, that could kick a 50 all day long? Yeah, and Moody can. But man, yeah, Moody, I wouldn't be surprised either if Moody did go something weird, because it is hard to find those elite kickers. There's about 10 of them that I was just talking about. It can do the 50 plus yards all day, every day. And then it really drops off where it's like, dude, he can't get it. So I don't know. Yeah, we do. We have a couple picks in the 6th, so I'd be okay with grabbing one of them. But also, man, Brad Holmes is so good. He's proven it. He's just proven it at taking the flyers with some real football players, some real dudes of like defensive end, like, just let's go, let's do it. I agree. I think there's just that Moody might go. Moody's the first kicker in a while that's like, I'm actually going to take him. We're going to take him in the 4th, 5th, just before a lot of these teams can do that. Great question, man. Great question. No, almost, right? We have to temper our expectations. It's not common. The draft is so hard hitting on these guys. So it's a great point. We cannot expect us to just grab James Houston in the 6th round every year that comes in and gets, whatever his name any weird stat of like 5 sacks in his first 4 games. It's just like, nah, that's going to be really tough. So that's a great point, man. There's no way that we just hit on this at that rate. But at the same time, man, he's got a chance and he's proven it. And it's like, this is why we got him as our GM. Remember, he can draft. He can just straight up draft, evaluate. That's one of the things we wanted from him. So I love it. Yeah, exactly. What if we're the good team that needs a kicker? And that's another thing, man. The expectations on the Lions this year. I want to keep like tempering my expectations, but at the same time, the thing that gets me excited is how the NFC is wide open. There's no powerhouse team. It's a bunch of teams like the Cowboys. That's the kind of the NFC. It's like, all right, you got the 49ers don't have a quarterback. You got Packers not scared. Vikings are always just whatever. So let's go. Let's go. And you got the Eagles, no question, the Eagles, but you've got a lot of teams like the Commanders and, like I said, the Cowboys and it's just those are your kind of top-ish teams. The Buccaneers, no longer Tom Brady, Saints, and they haven't, there was years where it was just like, dude, the Seahawks with Russell Wilson in his prime. It was just the Saints with Drew Brees. It was like, man, the NFC was just nuts. And so, exactly. It's weird because we are good enough offensively. That's the thing. We're offensive. We're creative. We know what to do offensively, and if we can just get things settled in defensively. And Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell said it, the cupboard's not bare defensively. It's not like we have a bunch of aging vets and we don't know. We drafted 6 defensive players last year. 5 of them played great. They're only going to get better. We're going to add some players. Jeez. Ben Johnson in his 2nd year. So that's what I love. Yeah, Holmes may trade back and pick up. Yeah, I always do that if you can. I don't know if we can or whatever, but I love it and hopefully that that we can. So you always grab more picks. Always keep building up for the future. Until you're like really there. I don't think we're right there to just cash in a bunch of picks and be super aggressive. Let's just keep accumulating picks. So, hey, hope you enjoyed this live. A lot more stuff coming. Craig and I will be back all the way through the off season. Make sure you subscribe, like this. Appreciate everybody jumping in, and we'll see all of you on the next one. See ya.